Hello and welcome to the Free Cheese episode 656. I'm your Joe Dix, joined by Matt Sellner. The Free Cheese is a weekly video game podcast about video games brought to you once a week by thefreecheese.com. This week we're diving deep into the oceans below, into the past, and fighting aliens with Echo the Dolphin. More on that later. Matt, first question. What are you drinking? I thought I saw the familiar logo there. Wow. Wow. Yeah, the orange can threw me off. Interesting. Would is this your first one? A repeat customer. Yeah, okay. But you're enjoying them. Oh, yeah. Mm, nice, nice. Ah, classics, the classics. I like when Sprite reaches out outside of their wheelhouse and tries something odd, you know? Just like Sega did with Echo the Dolphin. Before we dive in, I did have another opener question. Your sprite threw me off. I was gonna open this by asking your favorite animal and get into an animal conversation, but I realized that would reveal too much about our security question answers. So, to not give away personally identifiable information, did you ever go to the National Aquarium in Baltimore as a kid? Was that a regular one, like once a summer or once every couple of years? I think I had the same. 2017. Oh, wow. I went, last summer or the summer before, and it's basically not changed at all. I think the only thing that was different is I remember going sometime in high school, and we had there was like a down under exhibit, and it seemed like that was a temporary thing in high school, but now that's just permanent. There's just a whole, like, swamp area in the upstairs that has stuff from Australia. Um, do you have a favorite exhibit within there? Or a little like, was there a spot? I could tell you, I always loved when you got to the part with the tree frogs, all the weird little poison dart. Yeah, they ruled. Yeah. Yes. It's still there, dude. It still smells like the lib yeah, yeah, it's cool. Um, I also now I'm a fan, there's a whole jellyfish thing they've got going on. That's pretty neat. I like that. How about the dolphin show? Yeah, did they get rid of the show? I feel like they might have done that. That might maybe I don't know if they did or not. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think I only ever went to it like once when I was a kid too. It wasn't like a mainstay. Um, they Fridays after 5 prices no longer take a dive. I can tell you that much. That is not the case anymore at the Baltimore Aquarium. Um, yeah, I did. There were dolphins swimming around the last time I was there, uh, which now I know they can't stay underwater for too long. They must No, they can't. And we're going to find out why as we talk about Echo the Dolphin today. Developed by Novo Trade International, published by Sega for the Sega Genesis, first released. December 1992. Back of the box for the Genesis version reads, you are Echo, a powerful young dolphin. A mysterious storm has swept your family from the sea. The search to find them will take you through vast underwater realms of treachery, beauty, and adventure. Use your sonar to discover hidden caverns and unlock the secrets of crystal glyphs. Charge packs of bloodthirsty sharks. Dive deep, but don't linger too long because you're a mammal and need air to breathe. In your quest, you'll discover that more than your family's safety is at stake. The fate of the whole world rests on your wits and fins. Explore over 25 giant levels of solving puzzles and fighting denizens of the sea. 8 megs of aquatic excitement with password save. And knife through the waters, flip above the waves with motions created from real dolphins. I don't know. I don't know about that. There's a lot there. I love that they like make a point to call out like dive deep but don't linger too long because you're a mammal and need air to breathe. Just giving you a heads up that this game's gonna put some strict limitations on the player. If this is your first episode of the Free Cheese Podcast, welcome to the show. If it's not, or if you want to learn more, I'm about to tell you. Every week we talk about a single video game, our time spent playing with it in the lead up to the podcast, and then at the end we each give our final thoughts and we rank it on a list we call the list, which you can find at thefreecheese.com/the list. Echo the Dolphin will join the 177 additional titles already on the list. But first we gotta talk through it. We'll talk through kind of intro to it. We will discuss gameplay, visuals, sound, and our final reviewer thoughts. Do you remember the first time you saw Echo the Dolphin? Uh, yeah, yeah, yeah. When it was like in a dude's mom's basement. Yeah. I remember, I mean, I must have seen it in a magazine or something, but I remember physically seeing it for the first time at a neighbor's house. And this was a kid in the neighborhood whose mom would let him watch Cartoon Network, but would not let him watch Nickelodeon because they did slime, right? I don't, hey, no shade. I'm just saying, like, this is the level of control I think that the parents had. Right. Right, right. You don't want that. But I think the parents probably saw Echo where the rest of us might have been playing Sonic and whatever other weird stuff. Like I think the parents probably saw Echo as like, well, it's a game about dolphins. It's a nice thing. Like little did they know if you pushed far enough, you would find nightmares within. And I think I didn't remember that until putting the outline together for the episode where I was like, oh right, I remember that kid had Echo the Dolphin and that's where I saw it. And then also in hindsight, shout out to my neighborhood because we were a whole Genesis squad. I realized like there was not a single kid in the neighborhood with a Super Nintendo. And I wouldn't actually see a Super Nintendo until yeah, like making friends outside of the neighborhood sometime later. Um, yeah, I got to the second island, and that's where they had the Super Nintendo. They had the Super Mario World. You know what though, dude? The Banshee's pretty. Yeah, you're right. Everybody's got a Sega Genesis, as it turns out. Do you remember the first time you remember trying to play Echo? No way! This is your first go at it. I have played Echo a ton, and when I say that, it's with a massive asterisk because the ton is I have booted Echo, swam around in Echo, started to make my way through some of the early stages, and then been like, I don't, maybe not now, maybe not now, maybe I don't want to play this right now. And this dates all the way back to that kid's house. This dates back to getting any of the like Genesis compilations that would have stuff on them. But also like yeah, like the PS3. I'm pretty sure the Sonic collection, not the Sonic collection, but they called it like the Sonic Genesis collection or something like that for PS3. I'm pretty sure that had Echo on it, and I think I tried it there. Yeah, Sonic's Ultimate Genesis Collection was the name of it. A compilation of 48 Sega games, including Echo the Dolphin. So I definitely tried it there. And I probably did enough. I think I got the platinum in that game. And I think I did enough in Echo to like get whatever trophy I needed, if there was a trophy. Some games didn't have a trophy. And like that's it, probably. Like otherwise it's always been I've never made it past any of the like early water main ocean stages. You know what I mean? Um, this was my first time kind of going there, and I added it to the list this year. Most of the games I added for season 14, the intent was exploring new gameplay concepts. And coming into this, I was really looking for things that did something different. And at its core, like I can't think of a game that is more different than Echo today and then. Like it just does something so bizarre with there's just even now, like how many games where you actually play as an animal being an animal, like doing animal things? Like you got Stray now. Who? Tokyo Jungle is a good one. Yeah, that's a good point. But there's like yeah. No, that's a good yeah, but like it's very few, right? And then when you think about like knowing what you know about Echo, whether you've played it or not, nothing's let you just do that. Um, so I don't know. And again, like it being one of the things for me in the grand scheme of Genesis that I've not played yet, I figured put it on the list, force us to play it. It also worked out nicely because last year when I was like, I think Echo almost made the cut last year, and I moved it off for something else. But I don't remember if I did a Genesis game last year. I might not have. So I think like coming into this year, I knew I needed to rectify that. And I mean, we obviously did a lot streaming last year on Genesis, but I don't think I actually had one like as one of my list games. Um, yeah, I'm peeking at last year's schedule. I don't think I did. So anyway, yeah, I think that was a big reason for me. I wanted it on here just to see it. And then right around the time I'd started putting my list together last year, the original creator of Echo announced that Echo's coming back this year, theoretically. Uh, theoretically, maybe when this episode's going up, I mean, as we're recording this, I don't think anything has been announced, but we still have a couple days to go between recording uh and post. So Echo's meant to return with what I think it's a remaster of at least the first game, if not the second game, and then a brand new title is in development by the original development team. Um, the original creator, the guy who kind of spearheaded Echo, um, he'd kind of gone to this is Ed Annunziata. Ed Annunziata. Sorry, I didn't practice that one beforehand. Um, yeah, he'd really like he was the lead designer on Echo and had really pushed for it from the time he'd started at Sega when they were really like, yes, we want all sort of weird gameplay ideas. Um, he really pushed for this one, but he announced that yeah, they're He's working with the original development team, and they're doing a new Echo. So we'll see. Um, Coming into this, despite knowing its legacy, despite knowing the excitement of a new entry in the series, you in particular had quite the aversion to the game. What what did you know about this game that made you so you were not looking forward to playing this? Mm, mm, yeah. Mm, yeah. Yeah. Mhm. It's I mean, it says something that one of the first times I sat down and, like, played this game, I clocked an hour plus, and I'd completed 2 stages. And I kinda knew at that point, "Oh boy, this is I might have made a mistake with this one." Um, well, let's dive in a little bit to gameplay. Yeah, the basic gameplay loop of Echo, as Matt said, there's puzzles. You are thrown into the sea. Um, Basically every stage is a series of swim through a maze area while attacking slash avoiding enemies. Find crystals that you can interact with to pick up a yeah, yeah, that's good. Yeah, you pick up like a little aura from the crystal that you can then like communicate back via Echo's sonar to move other crystals that are blocking them. It's very odd. Like, yeah, there's crystals that are like up in this corner that you need to go swim to find so that you can swim back to another identical looking crystal to yell at it to make it get out of the way. But you're that's the gameplay loop. Um, how would you describe the story that sets us into motion? Because we control Echo, but there's some events that take place that get us started. Yes, very much so. Yeah, that, like, gets us started. Later on, there's some, a lot more story details in the form of crystallized lore dumps in the Atlantean library, but we'll get back to that. Um, oh, the big blue whale? Or yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Does he have a name? Big Blue is yeah, that's why I call yeah. Yeah, you meet an orca that tells you to go to the Arctic to meet Big Blue, and Big Blue's the one who tells you there's someone even smarter than him who's been around for a lot longer. And that's where you meet the Asterite who tells you to go to Atlantis, and that's where you learn the true secrets of the world, which we'll revisit. Echo has a key move set. Uh, 3 buttons. It's a Genesis game after all, so it gives you just the right amount of buttons to press. Uh, Echo's the A button is your sonar. B does sort of like a burst push that also kind of like uses his nose to bash into stuff. And then C just sort of swims faster. So you kind of get the speed of the burst, but without the like, I don't know, like attack of it, so to speak. Um, and you learn, yeah, there's a difference where there's certain things you must bash into with the B attack, like enemies or shells or other things. Swimming, if you do that, you actually take damage instead of dealing damage. So while you have the speed with C, you don't necessarily have the, yeah. Um, I think right up front, something I want to point out is like how good it feels, and probably very likely why for years I only ever played that open area and didn't know to go much further than it. Swimming feels so good in this game. Like I don't know what it's like to be a dolphin, but from what I play in Echo the Dolphin on the Sega Genesis, this is an almost, well, let me not go crazy. This is a almost 35-year-old game. I was gonna say almost a 40-year-old game. Let me not age Echo. And by yeah, you as well. It's almost a 35-year-old game. And it still feels really good. Like I said, this was something I added because I don't think anything's really ever done something like this, and it's crazy that they did it that long ago as well. Um, yeah, did you feel the same way about swimming or oh gosh. I'm talking about like just move, swim, jump up above the waves, that feeling of kind of like moving in and out and swimming and the arc of it. No, not at all. Dang. All right. Well, yeah, it doesn't get any better than that. If even if you like the swimming. That's fair. That's fair feedback. Yeah. 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 Yeah, and like, all right, so not to dive directly into complaints. No, I was this is the next thing I had on my notes anyway. There's a core disconnect between the design encouraging you to explore each area and forcing you to really. You must go through these mazes in very specific paths to find, you know, the right. What do you mean? Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you are really forced to like do exactly what it wants you to do, and like you make one wrong move, you've got to start back over again. And I think the core disconnect for me comes in the fact that like there is such intentional puzzle solution design in place, but there's so many things around the environment that are constantly attacking you and destroying your opportunity to complete the puzzles. The puzzles are hard enough on their own, but then you've got like the current pulling you one way. Oh, there's a crab. There's another crab. Oh, there's 3 jellyfish. Oh, you're out of air. Like you're just constantly being hammered with stuff. And like when you kind of know where you're going, like I did get to a point where essentially I think my approach with this game for the first half of it was play up until I was truly stuck or continually dying and having to restart, or I was playing this on Switch via the Genesis online stuff. So I was not liberally, but I was using the rewind function. If something where I was just like, I'm rewinding. Um, I shot. too quickly at a thing, and like I'd already been like so deep into the level, like I'm not doing all that again. I'm rewinding a little bit and I'll re-roll that. Even still with that, with like some of those modern concessions in place, there's a lot in this game that just like forces you to I, fail. So I would hit a point where, like, once that became like, ugh, all right, I would look at the map. There's a somebody on GameFAQs has great maps of everything with exact lines drawn out for which, like, and they're numbered, like path one, path two, path three, path four. So at that point, I'd be like, okay, let me get through the stage. Let me look at what this dude drew out. Got it. I'll go do that. Even that though is really difficult to do quickly. I feel like if you know this game intimately, it can be easier, but it's still not like the easiest thing to do. Because for me, going back to games from this era, I'm always aware that we didn't have these same concessions in place. We didn't have a lot of the like it's the get good mentality, right? Like that everybody loved Dark Souls for, that was always kind of there in these games just by happenstance. But and I'm not one for the like get good thing, but knowing that like failure is part of some of these old games because they came from that like arcade design into home console, and there's a blend of those game design mentalities. I try to be more forgiving of stuff in this era. I'm looking at the list from this year, and I don't think we've hit anything this year yet that covered it, but we've definitely had other stuff on the list where like failure is part of it, and you just gotta keep repeating until like you know what, Castlevania Rondo of Blood's one we did last year, where it's like, yeah, yeah, right, yeah, but like it's a part of it. Like you force yourself to learn, and you get better with muscle memory and those types of things. I don't think that stuff applies to Echo. That's the thing. Like as much as I can defend something like Rondo of Blood for being a thing that like really rewards you in the long run because you've spent time with it. I don't think Echo's the same because the enemies that come about, even though they spawn from the same spots, like they can be sort of in random areas. There's just like enough friction. Yeah. And then there's stuff like you pointed out, the one of the early puzzle things you have to do is push that boulder straight down. I had so many moments like doing that exact puzzle where that thing would slip off, slip in a weird spot, or I would get it to a certain point and then I couldn't quite I started it at the wrong horizontal point. So I took it down, but now I actually need to get a little bit too far to the left and I don't have the momentum to do it without Echo getting shot straight back up to the, you got to do it all over again. So there's a lot of stuff like that that it just this game's just tough. It's really tough in that sense, and brutal, like unforgiving. So uh, you do, yeah, yeah, yeah. You get, yep, yep, yeah. You can do passwords really easily. Um, They always start you right there. For me, it's the punishment of like being a couple of those levels just take so long. It's so much to get through. And you'd be at a thing where like there was one stage in particular, I forget which one it was now. I don't know if I wrote it down, where I'd reached the thing. Like I knew the all I had to do was just swim up and like a random crab came along and just murdered me. And even with like back rewind and all of that stuff, I didn't have the right, or I was like, I think I'd like run out of air right at that point too. And it's just like, no matter what I could do, I had to restart the level. And you just got to do it. Oh, yeah. The orange ones. Are you talking about the trilobites? Is that what they're called? Oh, you're talking about the big, no, the trilobites I'm thinking of are the little like, they almost look like pill bugs. They're later on. They're when you go back in time. No, those that you're talking about, those, yeah, like a weird horseshoe crab or something. I don't even know what. Yeah, those are gnarly. Um, those I remember the first time coming across them, I didn't even try to attack them because I was like, "Well, I can't kill that. There's nothing I can do with that. Just gotta swim past it." Um, yeah, no. Um, just really, really tough. Another puzzle element that I really did not like in this was starfish. So some of the puzzles, it's not just moving the blocks, some of the puzzles require you to move circles of starfish, and you move them with your echo or your sonar. So you need to swim to a spot and find these things and then use your sonar to push them along. But there's no like AI programming to the starfish in terms of like pathing. So they really just propel away from wherever you push, but there's not like a smart lock system where like they know the path they've got to go on. Like, no, they don't. You will very easily like push them out of the reachability of Echo's sonar, and then you're kind of just stuck. Like, you can't get them back. You can rewind if you're playing on a modern platform that supports it, but otherwise, you gotta wait, go back, wait for them to respawn and push them along, and then, like, you need those to just, like, break through rocks that sometimes you can instead break with shells or yeah, other stuff. Really frustrating. Um, yeah, my note I pointed out, I think the game is somewhat forgiving in terms of checkpoints, and for a Genesis game, there's too many things that can overwhelm and deplete you with no opportunity for recovery. And hey, look at this, I'm consistent. Unlike some games in this era, there's not really an option to get better at the game by repeating attempts like you might in a shooter or action game. So yeah, like I felt that whenever I was playing and took notes on this, and then I'm kind of feeling it now in reflection. But like, it just it is what it is, and it's really brutal. Um, You do I think they do a nice job of, like, introducing different varieties of sea creatures, nightmarish and not. There's sharks, different types of sharks. There's a giant octopus you meet pretty early who's frustrating. There's little orange, yeah, like, they look like, uh it's funny now that I'm thinking about it, wouldn't they be blue, the crabs? Yeah, okay. Anyway, uh, trilobites, and then there's, the vortex later on that you come up against, um, which that brings us to the main locations in the game. You have the sea, like the main ocean where Echo lives. You do at some point go to more of like the Arctic waters, but still that's sort of present day. You're then told to travel back in time. Well, then you go to Atlantis. Sorry, in Atlantis you discover everything. Um, I'm just gonna read the reference here, but basically the planets align once every 500 years, and an alien race known as the Vortex, who've lost the ability to produce food on their own planet, use their technology to harvest from the waters of Earth. The Atlanteans fought a long war with the Vortex, which only ended when the Vortex fired a beam at Atlantis, sending the city into the depths of the ocean. So now we finally find out what happened to Atlantis. Um, but you then find out, like, in order to save not just Echo's pod, but also everybody and the whole fate of the world, Echo must travel 55 million years into the past, um, to defeat the vortex once and for all. Um, and then, yeah, eventually you end up not just through Atlantis, but in the past in the sea, and then eventually on the vortex ship, I suppose. That's how I, yeah, where you eventually, yeah, yeah. Uh, but yeah, then you oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Arctic spiders. Fun. Yeah, those are fun. I wanna see. Yeah. In addition to I guess we talked about setting a little bit. We didn't really fully talk about, like, we talked about difficulty, and we kinda hit it in broad strokes, but the other part of this is there's 2 meters. There's your health and your air meter. They each have 5 little dots of 5 units. Um, I don't know what I didn't track the timing on the air, but it's basically like once it starts ticking away, you don't have much time. Like it's let's just say it's 2 minutes underwater and then it starts to go. After that 2 minutes, once the air meter starts ticking down, it's like one notch every it feels like 15 seconds. Maybe it's 30, if that. I don't know. It goes pretty quickly. And then, of course, once you deplete your air, it starts depleting your health one at a time. And once that happens, you're dead. Health is also depleted by bumping into literally anything. Not really. The environment's mostly fine, but yeah, any moving enemy. There's some environments that are dangerous to run into or touch. Those will knock some health off. There are spots within each of the like kind of mazes you swim around where there's spots you can come up for air and refill your air meter. And then if you one of the first things you learn in the game when you use your echo song on another dolphin, they tell you to sing to the shelled ones and they will heal you, which does come in handy. There's little like clamshell things you can sonar at. They open and release what looks like an air bubble, and then you eat that, and they will heal you. You can also eat fish. There's like little schools of fish that swim around, and you can kind of like do your jet attack, dart attack at them, and eat them, and that'll give you a +1 on health. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah. It's a yes. Yeah, which sonar it isn't great initially, not until you upgrade it, and like that's part of the trade-off too. Like early stages, you'll start to run into optional quests where you can go right to the exit if you want to, or you can go and try and find the lost dolphins, and if you do, they'll teach you a song that you can use against predators. And you can do that a couple times to like level it up and whatnot, and it yeah. You also at some point you get to a point in the game, I forget which stage it is, but where you no longer have to rely on the air meter. That does go away at some point too, but at that point, like it's like the least of your worries, I guess. The other problem, like the with what you're talking about with like not just attacking the enemies and like having no iframes, there's also no there's not a great rule set for despawning enemies. Like sometimes you'll clear an enemy and when you go off screen and come back, they're gone. So you have this thing in the back of your head as a video game player where you're like, okay, got it. All I gotta do is just clear that, swim, they're gone. Not the same for every animal that you encounter. Sometimes they all respawn. Also, sometimes the same animals feel like they have different rules depending on where they're drawn in on the map. Where like if you kill the pufferfish in this tunnel, they won't come back. But the tunnel 3 rows down, for whatever reason, they do spawn back. It's really, really frustrating. Um, mm, you do. Yeah. Okay. Mm, mm. Oh man, yeah. Sure. Yeah. And you can get darted from every angle, and that dart is only one angle. Dang. Mm. Yeah, and that animation. Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, that's a smart move. I really hope 2 I agree, yeah, I hope 2 has the tail whip, and or I hope this, remake or whatever they're doing with it has a tail whip. That really would, because my solution ended up being just use invincibility cheat, and that's how I got through the bulk of the game. Even that still sucked, because I told you I'd done that at some point, and I still tried to adhere to the because like, if you just do that like, with who cares? It doesn't it removes the it removes the fail state, but it doesn't remove the friction. You still take hits, you still lose air. So I tried to maintain like if I was low on air, find a spot to get air. Like I tried to keep that stuff going as much as possible. What invincibility did was give me like it did not prevent me from like having to restart a level all the way over from the beginning because one of those random combat encounters took a wrong turn. um, or because I was trying to really like get lost in a level and explore the stage and ran out of air, that kind of stuff. Um, But yeah, even that still didn't do it. I think you do give it a fair chance if you have a tail whip. That's really smart. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, but what's baffling to me is that so this is definitely a game where they made it difficult through testing and playing and didn't tune it back down, right, for a general audience. What's crazy to me is that they doubled down on it in QA, and then reviewers of the time doubled down on it. Reviewers came out and, like, loved how hard it was, which I can appreciate how hard it is, but there's also a certain point where, like, it's just a little yeah. And we're in a different era now, not that they like, the reviewers of that time were reviewing so many games per month anyway. It's not like they didn't have their own time restrictions and stuff like that, but today it's the thing where it's like, we're spoiled for choice, and, you know, the more time you spend playing something that's frustrating is less time you're spending playing something that you enjoy. Um, yeah. Do you have a yeah, good. I was gonna say, do you have a favorite section or level? So I don't know if that's the direction you wanna head into yet. Well, it's because the other dolphin in your pod dared you to see how high you can get. He brought on the end of the world. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, not at all, dude. Yeah, the final boss looks like a xenomorph. Yeah, 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 yeah. Because when you again, like, when you see that opening bit, it's funny, like, I've never paid attention to the back of the box until pulling it for the episode, but, like, they almost show you everything but the final boss. Like, they show you the time travel portal, they show you Atlantis, um, and they show you being back in time with the pterodon grabbing you and, well, they don't show that part flying or whatever, but, like, yeah, it but everything I've ever thought of Echo, and I think what most people see or believe of Echo is that top left screenshot on the back of the box of just like swimming around, man. You're just swimming in the sea, but like no, it's a weird game that does weird things. Yeah. 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 Yeah, yeah. I I know, I know. I wanna come back to sound in a minute. We'll jump into sound and talk more about that. With visuals, um, I think a couple things stand out to me. It looks like nothing else on Genesis then or now. Um, it's just so well, I shouldn't say like that's an absolute statement. But yeah, I mean it is like it's wild how just different it is for a take. Like, and when you think about like the types of games we're getting a lot of mascot platformers, and like this is still another one of those. It's just its own brand of it. Um, the one thing I remember the one of the moments where I like really felt the scale of the game is when you meet Big Blue in the Arctic, like seeing just like coming. I didn't know what I was like. I think someone mentioned, yeah, the orca tells you to go meet Big Blue, and like I'm swimming along when I actually like got to this giant whale. I like hit the screenshot button on the Switch because I was like, this is cool. Like it's a giant giant whale. Like that really stood out. I like the way it looked and was drawn. I know this isn't the game itself, but the box art, they grabbed Boris Vallejo to do the box art for this game and its sequel. But just a classic fantasy artist who had done a lot of great work, and the box, it's super iconic. I love it a lot. Um, we talked a lot about the level design, the navigation. Like I think to your point, like the levels look like they should look, but in terms of design and navigability, it's not always the best, not always the strongest. You can see there's like an order to which things work and like they tried, but it just doesn't fully fit. I think it does still look good today. I think like you could pop this in and there's nothing about this that's like, yeesh, those sprites look bad. Like I think they did a really great job. They had a really, really talented art team on this. They had a talented music team as well, which Matt you alluded to. So let's talk sound. Um, it's an odd thing. Like, yes, there's definitely identifiable tracks, but to me, the stuff that lingers is some of the just like weird like sweeps they do. Like they sort of like do these like little like arpeggiated chords and stuff like that that like they all kind of like sound like they're always like resounding up. Like it's very sci-fi in that sense. Like they're definitely like fitting into where this game would end up going thematically early on. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Something. Yeah, yeah. Hmm. No, never. And well, we know that. Uh, but yeah, like my note was like, this is the most engrossing soundtrack in a game that we've played in a long time. Like it really does like it sticks with you. It's really haunting. It's really beautiful. There's a lot of depth to it. Yeah, it's eerie where it needs to be. It's fun where it needs to be. It's light, but yeah, there's always something that the you pointed out like it sounds like it's underwater too. There's like a muffled quality to a lot of it that still like lets the notes they're pronounced, but yeah. Um I think that's I think that's all our thoughts. Any other call out on gameplay, visual, sound? All right. Well, that brings us to some of the final questions before we rank this. You already answered this one too, but I will ask it definitively. Did you enjoy Echo the Dolphin? Yeah. Yeah, I am happy I got to see it and like poke my way through some of the bits. I I wish I liked it better. Like, as an experience. And I wish the, like, moment to moment were not as frustrating as it is, because I think that's the downside. Because 'cause it's got a really weird, cool story, it's got a lot of weird concepts and premise, the soundtrack rules, I think it looks great. It's such a unique experience that I there's nothing on the Genesis like it. There's nothing, I mean, except for its sequels. There's nothing like since then. Like, people don't do stuff like this. People make games with guys with short haircuts and guns. That's all video games are now. Ain't nobody a dolphin. Um, all right, fair enough. Fair enough. But it makes it difficult to recommend this to everybody. I think everybody should check out Echo just so you know kind of what we're talking about, but understand the caveats with it. And hopefully, whatever this re-release or remake or remaster or something is, does something to address some of the difficulty in the game. But look, man, when I will say this, when Sega themselves, I mean, they worked with not necessarily internal people, but they contracted people to do this. But when they re-released some of the Sega or the Sonic games, they included some newer features. Like, everybody knows Sonic has the spin dash, right? That wasn't there until Sonic 2, but any re-release of Sonic 1 has the spin dash. They retrofit some mechanics in there because it makes more sense and it's what people know and are used to. Maybe, maybe. We'll see. Um, yeah, I don't know. All right, it's time to rank this thing. I I don't remember. We kind of try and flip flop, but I want to kick it to you and hear right off the jump. What number did you land on? If you want to play along at home, thefreecheese.com/the list. If you're watching the video version, Matt's got it on the screen to follow along. Please tell me, where did you land on Echo the Dolphin? Oh, wow. Better than Blinks, though. Sure. Fair enough. I have it a little bit higher, but I didn't go crazy. For me, I put it as the new 152, above Harvester and below Scooby Doo Mystery. Um, Really, for me, where I landed on there was like, I saw Metal Gear Solid for Game Boy, and I was like, we have that kind of criminally low, I think, in hindsight, because that was a solid game, really solid Game Boy game. I don't know. Again, this is that weird part of the list where, like, these aren't bad games at the bottom of this list. They're just not. They're not the S tier. But I don't know. I felt like Metal Gear Solid on Game Boy is a or Ghost Babel if you don't live in America, was a really, really great experience through and through. Like, I don't remember many frustrating parts of that, whatever. Same thing, like Scooby Doo Mystery, we did that on a stream, and like I liked what they built in that. I think you could play that pretty easy, naturally. But I'm trying to draw the direct comparisons. I put it above Harvester really because I saw Batman Forever sitting there, and it's like, well, this is better than Batman Forever. And then I'm like, Fighting Force to me is just kind of boring and bland. Not necessarily bad. I think it's probably more playable than Echo can be at times. But I think I put Echo there because it does have some stuff like, and again, if you're incredibly patient. You can get through Echo. People get through Echo all the time. It's definitely doable. Um, and there's different things you can do. There's cheat codes if you want to do that route. Like there's stuff you can do to play it and whatever. Um, I think in that regard, like it's playable. And I put it above Harvester, I think just because I liked Harvester, and Harvester was a weird oddity. The ending run, yeah, 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 but it's playable. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I think ultimately I'd put Echo above Harvester. I don't know that that's the right answer, but that's where I landed. Yeah. Yeah, because it asks a lot of you, man. It asks a lot of patience, and when there's a lot of other games out there, uh, yeah, I don't know, man. All right, we're good with it at 152? All right. Congratulations to is it? Oh, that one. Yeah. Yeah, I got a couple things. There's one more I'm a little worried about. Right now we have it scheduled for mine. We have it scheduled for 680, episode 680. I've played a little bit of that. It's a weird one. I think our mileage might vary on that. 678 is going to be an odd one too. An interesting one, but an odd one. Yeah. Well, speaking of, I won't say what 678 is, but you can do the math and figure out when that episode comes out if you're curious and what platform we might be targeting. Um, Echo the Dolphin had a remake, its first remake or sort of like a reboot on Dreamcast. I forget what it was called. Was it just Echo the Dolphin again? Yeah, Echo the Dolphin Defender of the Future was the name of it. Are you interested in playing that at all? Would you if someone if this new reboot thing they're doing or whatever, if it actually got good buzz, are is there a world where you're like, okay, or are you just like No, that's fine. It can be good game a good game. There's good games I'll never play. Okay, fair enough. Okay, time will tell. I think so. Yeah, yeah. Well, I know Echo 2, turns out you didn't kill the final boss in Echo 1. Um, oh, interesting. I don't know gameplay wise, but I know that you keep all your powers from the end of the game, and I know that you didn't actually kill the Vortex Queen, so you gotta go do that again. But I don't know about much. I don't know much more than that. The original Echo did get a Sega CD release. It also got ported to the Game Gear. Did it also get ported to Master System? No, it didn't. But um, yeah. Well, that's Echo. We love Echo, or kind of. Um, no, we love the Sega Genesis. Looking ahead, yeah, I don't. We got some work to do in Genesis. Um, Next week, speaking of looking ahead, we've got Resident Evil Requiem joining the list. Maybe our fastest release to ranking, yeah, that we've done historically. So stay tuned for that next week. And then just in time for WrestleMania, we're doing a little throwback WWE SmackDown vs. Raw. We got Tomba coming up. Next month, we got more fun ahead. I'll leave it at that for now. Until then, thank you, Sega. Thank you, Echo. Thank you all for hanging out and watching, listening, being with us. And thank you, Matt, for playing Echo. We'll see you next time. Bye.